The untold story of Alan Rickman's quiet life. When we think of Alan Rickman, most of us picture the menacing Professor Snape or the charismatic Hans Gruber. But behind those iconic performances lived a man whose real story was far more fascinating than any character he ever portrayed. A working-class boy who almost never became an actor at all. A love story that spanned 5 decades yet remained hidden from the world. And a private battle that he fought in complete silence until his final breath. Today, we're diving deep into the untold story of Alan Rickman's quiet life. The man who could command any room with that unforgettable voice was actually someone who treasured silence above all else. What you're about to discover will completely change how you see one of cinema's greatest talents. Because the real Alan Rickman wasn't the villain we thought we knew. He was something far more complex, far more human, and far more extraordinary. Let's start with something most people never knew. Alan Rickman almost wasn't Alan Rickman at all. Born in 1946 in West London, he grew up in circumstances that seemed destined to keep him far from Hollywood's glittering lights. His father, Bernard, worked as a factory hand, a painter, and a decorator. His mother, Margaret, struggled to make ends meet as a housewife in a cramped council flat in West London. This wasn't the typical origin story of a future movie star. When Alan was just 8 years old, tragedy struck. His father died of cancer, leaving Margaret to raise 4 children alone on nothing more than a postal worker's wages. Picture this scene for a moment. A widow in 1950s London, 4 young mouths to feed, and bills piling up faster than she could count them. Most families would have crumbled under that pressure. But the Rickmans had something that money couldn't buy. They had each other, and they had dreams that refused to die. Here's where Alan's story takes its first unexpected turn. Even as a child, he had a naturally tight jaw that affected his speech rhythm. The very voice that would later become his trademark was actually something he had to fight for. He spent years studying vocal delivery and enunciation, turning what could have been a weakness into his greatest strength. That slow, deliberate way of speaking that made millions hang on his every word. That wasn't an affectation. That was Alan Rickman refusing to let anything stop him from being heard. But acting wasn't his first love. In fact, it wasn't even his second. Young Alan was obsessed with art, spending hours sketching and painting in the family's tiny council flat. His talent was undeniable, and when the time came to choose a career path, he picked what seemed like the sensible option. He enrolled at Chelsea College of Art and Design, then moved on to the prestigious Royal College of Art. By his early 20s, he was running his own graphic design studio called Graffiti with a group of friends. Imagine Alan Rickman in a business suit, hunched over design layouts instead of memorizing scripts. For several years, that was his reality. He was good at it too, successful even. But there was something gnawing at him, a voice in his head that grew louder with each passing day. Years later, he would describe it perfectly. There was an inevitability about my being an actor since about the age of 7, but there were other roads that had to be traveled first. A voice in the head saying, "It's time to do it. No excuses." At the relatively ancient age of 26, when most actors are already established or giving up entirely, Alan Rickman made a decision that would change everything. He applied to the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art. Think about the courage that took. Here was a man with a stable career, a steady income, and a comfortable life, and he threw it all away to chase a dream that most people would call foolish. But Radha saw something special in this mature student with the unusual voice and intense presence. He not only got accepted, he thrived. From 1972 to 1974, he won several distinguished prizes for his performances, proving that sometimes the best things come to those who wait and work for them. After graduation, Alan didn't immediately leap into the spotlight. Instead, he chose a path that most ambitious actors would avoid. He spent years working with small repertory companies and experimental theater groups. No glamour, no fame, just pure craft. He performed in productions of Chekhov's The Seagull and worked with the Royal Court Theatre, slowly building his skills one role at a time. During this period, something beautiful happened. In 1965, when he was just 19 years old and still an art student, Alan met 18-year-old Rima Horton at Chelsea College. She was studying there too, and from the moment they met, they were inseparable. But here's what makes their story truly remarkable. While Alan was chasing his dreams through art school, graphic design, and eventually acting, Rima was building her own impressive career path. She shifted her focus toward economics and politics, eventually becoming a lecturer at Kingston University and serving as a Labour Party councillor for Kensington and Chelsea for 20 years. Two brilliant minds, two completely different career paths, but one unshakable bond that would last more than 50 years. They would sit together in comfortable silence, reading for hours, until one of them would share something amusing, and they'd both dissolve into laughter. Alan's big break came in 1976 when he joined the Royal Shakespeare Company. But even then, he started small, playing early roles such as Boyer in Love's Labour's Lost and Ferdinand in The Tempest. He worked alongside actors who would become lifelong colleagues, including Ruby Wax and Juliet Stevenson. It wasn't until 1985, when Alan was nearly 40 years old, that he landed the role that would change his life forever. He was cast as the Vicomte de Valmont in Les Liaisons Dangereuses at the RSC, playing alongside Juliet Stevenson and Lindsay Duncan. His portrayal of the charismatic and manipulative Valmont was magnetic, a perfect blend of charm and menace that audiences couldn't resist. The production was a sensation. It transferred from the RSC to the West End, then to Broadway, where it earning him Tony Award and Drama Desk Award nominations for Best Actor. Suddenly, the quiet boy from a West London council flat was being hailed as one of the most compelling actors of his generation. But success didn't change Alan's fundamental nature. He remained intensely private, preferring deep friendships to celebrity acquaintances. He mentored younger actors with the same patience that others had shown him. His charm and droll wit made him beloved among his colleagues, but he never forgot where he came from or the struggles that shaped him. What's fascinating is how Alan's working-class background informed every character he played. That understanding of real people, of genuine hardship and authentic emotion, became the foundation of his craft. He didn't just play characters, he inhabited them completely, bringing a depth and humanity that few actors could match. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the untold story of Alan Rickman's quiet life, make sure to hit that like button and let us know in the comments which aspect of his story surprises you most. Don't forget to subscribe to Things That Make You Go, for more fascinating stories about the hidden lives of your favorite stars. The year 1987 marked a turning point that would forever alter the trajectory of Alan Rickman's career. A script by Jeb Stewart and Stephen E. D'Souza told the story of a German terrorist who takes hostages in a Los Angeles skyscraper. The project seemed destined for obscurity until it landed on the desk of producer Joel Silver, who saw potential in what would become Die Hard. When Alan auditioned for the role of Hans Gruber, he walked into a room full of executives expecting a typical Hollywood villain. Instead, they encountered something entirely different. Here was an actor who understood that the most terrifying antagonists aren't the ones who scream and rage, but the ones who speak softly and smile while they destroy everything you hold dear. Alan's interpretation of Hans Gruber wasn't just a performance. It was a masterclass in controlled menace. But here's what most people don't realize about that iconic audition. Alan later admitted he had reservations, not of the role itself, but of what accepting it might mean. He was a respected stage actor with a growing reputation in serious theater. Taking a part in what many viewed as just another action movie felt like a massive risk. He could have easily become typecast as the sophisticated bad guy, forever locked out of the nuanced, dramatic roles he truly craved. The decision to say yes came down to one simple factor. Alan recognized something profound in the character that others had missed. Hans Gruber wasn't just a terrorist. He was a man of culture and intelligence who had chosen a dark path. That complexity, that internal contradiction, was exactly the kind of challenge that Alan lived for as an actor. Filming Die Hard was unlike anything Alan had experienced before. The scale was enormous, the budget massive, and the pressure intense. But what struck him most was how different Hollywood was from the intimate theater world he knew. Between takes, while other actors socialized or relaxed in their trailers, Alan would often retreat to quiet corners with a book or his sketch pad, drawing detailed illustrations that captured his thoughts and observations about the filmmaking process. The movie's success was immediate and overwhelming. Suddenly, Alan Rickman was a household name around the world. But fame came with a price that he hadn't anticipated. The quiet life he treasured was increasingly difficult to maintain. Photographers followed him through London streets. Journalists wanted to know everything about his personal life, his relationship with Rima, his political views, his future plans. Alan's response was characteristically thoughtful and deliberate. He began developing what friends would later describe as an invisible shield around his private life. He would give interviews, attend premieres, and fulfill his professional obligations with grace and wit. But he never revealed more than he chose to reveal. When asked about Rima, he would simply say she was a wonderful woman who preferred to stay out of the spotlight. When pressed about their relationship status, he would deflect with humor or change the subject entirely. This protective instinct became even more crucial as Alan's career exploded in the 1990s. Roles in films like Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, where he played the Sheriff of Nottingham with delicious villainy, and Sense and Sensibility, where he showed his romantic leading man potential, proved his incredible range as an actor. Each performance seemed to reveal new layers of his talent, but Alan remained frustratingly elusive to those who wanted to know the man behind the characters. During this period, something remarkable was happening at home that the public knew nothing about. While Alan was becoming one of the most recognizable faces in cinema, Rima was building an equally impressive career in academia and politics. She was lecturing at Kingston University, writing papers on economic theory, and serving as a Labour Party counselor. Their dinner conversations were legendary among their small circle of close friends. Alan would describe the artistic challenges of bringing a character to life, while Rima would discuss the political complexities of local government or the economic implications of national policy. What made their relationship so extraordinary wasn't just its longevity, but its equality. In an industry where many couples struggle with jealousy and competition, Alan and Rima seemed to genuinely celebrate each other's successes. When Alan won awards, Rima was his most enthusiastic supporter. When Rima achieved milestones in her political career, Alan was equally proud and supportive. Their friends often marveled at how they had managed to maintain such a normal relationship despite Alan's extraordinary fame. The secret, according to those who knew them well, was their shared values and their mutual respect for each other's independence. They had separate careers, separate interests, and separate social circles, but they came together each evening as equals who genuinely enjoyed each other's company. The late 1990s brought an opportunity that would define the final chapter of Alan's career. A relatively unknown author named Joanne Rowling had written a series of books about a young wizard, and Warner Brothers was preparing to bring the first story to the big screen. When Alan was approached about playing Professor Severus Snape, his initial reaction was skeptical. Children's films weren't typically his domain, and he worried about spending years locked into a single character. But something about Snape intrigued him. Like Hans Gruber, this was a character with hidden depths and complex motivations. Alan spent hours with J.K. Rowling discussing Snape's backstory, his relationship with Harry's parents, and the arc that would unfold over 7 books. What she told him about Snape's true nature and ultimate sacrifice convinced him that this was a role worth taking, even if it meant committing to nearly a decade of filming. The Harry Potter years were both a blessing and a burden for Alan. The films brought him to a new generation of fans who had never seen Die Hard or Robin Hood. Children who had grown up with the books now associated his face and voice with one of literature's most compelling characters. But the intense filming schedule and the pressure of bringing such a beloved character to life took its toll. Throughout this period, Alan continued to seek out challenging stage roles and smaller independent films that allowed him to stretch as an actor. He directed films like The Winter Guest, showcasing yet another facet of his artistic abilities. But he never forgot the lessons of his working-class childhood or the values that Rima and his family had instilled in him. As Alan entered his 60s, those closest to him noticed subtle changes. He seemed more reflective, more determined to use his platform for causes he believed in. He became increasingly involved in charity work, though he insisted on keeping most of his philanthropic efforts private. He also began writing more frequently in personal diaries, documenting not just his professional experiences but his thoughts on art, politics, love, and mortality. The story of Alan Rickman teaches us that the most extraordinary lives are often the quietest ones. Here was a man who could have lived entirely in the spotlight, who could have turned his fame into constant headlines and tabloid stories. Instead, he chose something far more precious. He chose love over celebrity, craft over stardom, and authenticity over image. From that working-class boy in West London who overcame a speech impediment to the world-renowned actor who kept his relationship largely private for decades, Alan showed us that true strength lies not in what we reveal to the world, but in what we protect from it. His 50-year love story with Rima, his dedication to his craft, his loyalty to friends, and his quiet dignity in the face of both success and illness remind us that the most meaningful legacies aren't built on red carpets or award shows. They're built in small moments, in quiet conversations over dinner, in the choice to mentor a young actor rather than seek another spotlight, in the decision to keep your private battles private, not because you're ashamed, but because some things are too sacred to share. Alan Rickman didn't just play unforgettable characters. He lived an unforgettable life, one that proves you can be extraordinary without sacrificing the things that matter most. And perhaps that's the greatest performance of all. What part of Alan's story resonates most with you? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. If this deep dive into a legend's hidden life moved you, hit that like button and subscribe to things that make you go, for more untold stories that reveal the humanity behind the headlines.